They made us laugh, dance, and believe in joy, and in doing so, they became part of our lives. At 71, John Travolta lives far from the noise that once surrounded him. In a quiet Florida home where memories speak louder than words, sunlight still fills the rooms, but the past lingers gently in framed photographs and familiar spaces. To the world, he remains an icon of movement and charm, a man frozen in moments of celebration. Yet behind that image is someone who has carried profound loss with quiet dignity. Fame taught him how to perform happiness, but life taught him how fragile it truly is. He learned that applause fades quickly while memory endures. Travolta's story is not one of tragedy alone, nor of fame alone, but of contrast. To understand why generations still feel connected to him, we must look beyond the dance floor and into the human heart that kept beating long after the music softened. A childhood shaped by scarcity and imagination. John Joseph Travolta was born in 1954 in Inglewood, New Jersey, the youngest of 6 children in a modest working-class household. Space was tight, resources were limited, and attention was something you earned rather than received. His father worked long hours to support the family, returning home exhausted, while his mother, a former performer turned drama teacher, filled the house with creativity and discipline. She believed in expression as survival and taught her children that imagination could stretch beyond circumstance. The home was loud, crowded, and often chaotic, but it was never empty of feeling. John learned early how to observe people, how to imitate voices, how to make others laugh just to be noticed. In that crowded house, performance became his way of existing. It wasn't about spotlight or praise. It was about being seen in a world where space and certainty were always in short supply. Discovering a voice through performance. As a child, John struggled with shyness and insecurity, but something changed when he stepped into a role. On stage, words came easier, movement felt natural, and fear loosened its grip. Community theater became his refuge, a place where attention was given freely and effort mattered more than background. His mother noticed the transformation and nurtured it carefully, encouraging discipline rather than fantasy. John didn't dream of stardom yet. He dreamed of belonging. Performance offered structure in a life filled with uncertainty. Applause felt like confirmation, but even more powerful was the sense of control it gave him. For the first time, he could decide who he was, even if only for a scene. That realization stayed with him. Acting wasn't an escape from reality. It was a way to process it. By his teens, he understood that this wasn't a pastime. It was the path he needed to follow. Leaving home before he was ready. At 16, John Travolta made a decision that frightened his family and defined his future. He left school and moved to New York City with little money and no safety net. The city offered opportunity, but no mercy. He slept on couches, worked odd jobs, and attended auditions that ended in quick rejections. Hunger and exhaustion became familiar companions. There were days when he questioned everything, standing in small rooms waiting to be dismissed in seconds. Yet he kept showing up. He trained constantly, learning movement, voice, and discipline. Each rejection hardened his resolve rather than breaking it. New York didn't welcome him, but it tested him. It taught him endurance, humility, and patience. Those months shaped him more than any success that followed. He wasn't chasing fame yet. He was fighting for permission to stay in the world he believed he belonged to, even when no one else believed it yet. The first taste of recognition, touring theater productions, offered John his first steady work and his first taste of validation. Performing night after night in small cities taught him consistency and respect for audiences who gave their attention freely. Applause became fuel, not ego. When television finally opened its door, it did so unexpectedly. A sitcom role introduced him to millions of viewers, turning a struggling young actor into a recognizable face almost overnight. Fame arrived quickly, and with it came pressure. While the public celebrated his charm and energy, John remained cautious. He understood how fragile opportunity could be. Behind the scenes, he continued training, aware that visibility didn't equal longevity. Still, the shift was undeniable. For the first time, his work provided security. The boy who once slept in crowded rooms now had space to breathe. Yet, even then, he sensed that this was only one chapter, not the destination. When the world learned, his name film transformed John Travolta into a global phenomenon. Roles that captured rhythm, vulnerability, and restlessness resonated across generations. His performances didn't just entertain, They reflected youth, ambition, and longing. The success was overwhelming. Music, movement, and image fused into cultural moments that traveled far beyond theaters. With that success came expectations he wasn't prepared to carry alone. Every gesture became symbolic, every choice scrutinized. While the world celebrated endlessly, John felt the weight of being defined by a moment. He worked tirelessly, driven by momentum rather than reflection. Fame magnified everything, joy and isolation alike. He learned quickly that success can be loud but lonely. Even as his image filled screens and posters, he struggled to reconcile who he was with who the world believed him to be. That tension would follow him quietly into the next stage of his life, loss that changed everything. Behind the brightness of success, personal loss reshaped John Travolta in ways no role ever could. Grief arrived early and returned often, each time leaving deeper marks. Love, once found, was followed by heartbreak that taught him how fragile connection could be. He learned that success offered no protection from sorrow. Later, family brought him grounding and purpose, reminding him what truly mattered beyond screens and stages. When unimaginable loss struck within his own household, it shattered every illusion of control. Work lost its meaning overnight. Survival became about presence rather than ambition. He withdrew not from weakness but from necessity. Grief forced him to slow down, to listen, to endure rather than perform. These experiences stripped life down to its essentials. They taught him that identity built solely on achievement cannot withstand loss. What remained was something quieter but stronger. Responsibility, love, and the determination to keep going. Choosing meaning over momentum. Time changed how John approached both work and life. He became selective, choosing projects that interested him rather than defined him. Success returned in new forms, shaped by maturity rather than urgency. This second chapter was steadier, guided by perspective earned through hardship. He no longer chased relevance. He allowed it to find him when it fit. Reinvention became possible because he had learned how to let go. Fame was no longer the measure of worth. Family became the center. Everyday routines gained importance. Teaching, listening, and being present mattered more than visibility. Loss taught him that moments cannot be postponed indefinitely. He learned to value time as the most fragile resource of all. This shift didn't make headlines, but it reshaped his life. Strength, he realized, wasn't in resilience alone, but in choosing what deserved his remaining energy. Living with memory, not against it. In recent years, John Travolta's life has grown intentionally quieter. He spends time at home, surrounded by reminders of love rather than accolades. Photographs are not decorations, they are conversations with the past. Memory accompanies him, not as a burden, but as a presence. He does not erase loss, nor does he dramatize it. He carries it. Public appearances are rare, not from withdrawal, but from clarity. He understands now that peace requires boundaries. Joy exists in ordinary moments, shared meals, conversations, watching his children grow. He honors those who are gone by remaining engaged with those who are here. Grief hasn't disappeared, but it no longer dictates his movement. Instead, it informs his gratitude. Living with memory has taught him how to remain open without being undone. That balance may be his greatest achievement. The legacy, beyond the spotlight. John Travolta's story is often told through roles and records, but its true weight lies elsewhere. It is the story of a man who learned to endure without becoming hardened. Fame gave him visibility, but loss gave him depth. He has stood at both extremes and survived both. What remains is not a symbol, but a human being who continues to choose care over applause. His legacy is not only in the dances remembered or the films replayed, but in the quiet example of continuing to love after loss. He reminds us that strength is not about escaping pain, but about living alongside it without surrendering to bitterness. Long after the music fades, that lesson endures, and perhaps that is why even now people still feel connected to him, because behind the legend is a heart that never stopped trying to move forward.